Right now on Upfront.
Re-election watch.
I'll be making that decision in the near future, very near future.
As Governor Tony Evers weighs whether to seek a third term, the Republican primary battle is taking shape.
Well, I mean, the best things in life aren't going to be easy.
Republican Bill Berrien making two.
This fight will not be easy.
Joining Josh Showman, Berrien, the newest Republican candidate for governor, is off. The fundraising, the Trump factor, the Republican criticism, we'll get to it all. Do you think you need President Trump's endorsement to win the primary here? One-on-one with Bill Berrien, moments away.
Then the numbers.
To me, there's two options. Thank God there's not 10.
The new campaign finance reports what the numbers tell in the race for governor. WisPolitics' J.R. Ross is here to break it all down. And draft impact.
Now I think we'll use the stadium a lot more in the next time.
The new report, Green Bay's economic impact after hosting the NFL draft. Discover Green Bay CEO Brad Toll is with us just moments away.
This is Upfront with Jaron Jordan and political director Matt Smith.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. The speculation swirling this weekend around Democratic Governor Tony Evers and whether he'll run for re-election.
The governor continuing to say a decision on a third term will come soon, like here in Beloit Tuesday.
I'll be making that decision in the near future, very near future.
State Representative Robin Vining announcing her bid for state Senate Thursday as Democrats look to regain control of that chamber. Senate Minority Leader Dianne Hesselbein.
All of this hinges on a governor in the governor's office, a Democrat in the governor's office. I'm curious, what do you know about the governor's decision, and what would you like him to do at this point?
It's my understanding that Governor Evers is going to make up his mind within the next week and a half, and I think he's going to talk to his family and friends and do the best thing that he thinks is for the state. I think he's done a wonderful job as a governor.
As I was saying, for Senate Democrats, you would like to see him do what?
If the governor wants to run again, we're behind him all the way.
All right, at the same time, the Republican primary is taking off, including the newest candidate, Bill Berrien, who sat down with us this past week. What do you guys do here? What do you manufacture?
So we manufacture other manufacturers' parts. So, whether it's rocket parts or munitions, firearms parts, hydraulics.
We met Bill Berrien at his new Berlin manufacturing plant this past week, 6 days into his campaign in what could become a bruising Republican primary for governor.
I'll just say, I think we have the team, the capability, and the capacity to win this election next year and create enduring Republican majorities, at all levels of government.
And you understand the challenge that won't likely be an easy task.
Well, I mean, the best things in life aren't going to be easy.
Berrien, the Princeton grad and Navy SEAL veteran, acquired Pindell Global Precision in 2012 and is using his company's story as an example of American manufacturing. You've got a good life, though, right now. Politics can get dirty, right? Are you prepared for that?
I've been dirty before. Yeah. So, it's. I think there's a call to service, and with that call to service, it's not all rainbows and unicorns. It's about the hard work of leading, of articulating a vision, and it's leadership. It's getting other people on board, and they're going to be arrows and they're going to be challenges, but I think the state deserves it.
You're up on TV with your first ad. Before you launched, you announced your PAC raised about $1.2 million.
Yep.
Care to share how much you've raised in this first week since officially launching?
I think we're just shy of $1 million. So, yeah.
In 1 week.
Well, it projected to be. It's looking like that.
Campaign finance reports filed just after our interview show twins Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, the founders of a cryptocurrency company, and who also became famously known for their legal fight with Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, donated $1 million to Berrien's political action committee he created before his launch. Who's supporting Bill Berrien at this point in the race?
It's relationships that I've sort of historically had going back. It's friends and donors in the state. I've been active on Republican donations and fundraising. Going back since we first came here, 23 years ago.
Do you have a cap on, at least in your mind, how much you're willing to put in personally into this campaign?
I do, but I'm not, for strategic reasons, not articulating that right now.
Berrien joins Washington County Executive Josh Shulman, the two Republicans who have so far entered the Republican primary.
Now listen, this fight will not be easy.
Do you think you need President Trump's endorsement to win the primary here in the state?
I do, and I think we have a great chance of getting it. Because again, I have the vision for making Wisconsin, literally ground zero for the reindustrialization that he's trying to lead in the country. I mean, nowhere else in the country is it more likely. We've got a 125-year-old manufacturing ecosystem. We have a highly trained, highly trainable workforce. You have the tariffs that are incentivizing businesses to, consider investing in the country. And now you have the One Big Beautiful Bill Act that, it's like a Black Friday sale of factory expansion. No coupons required between, all the business incentives for investing in manufacturing.
Have you had any conversations here with the president or his team?
Various members of his orbit, yes. So, try to keep those keep them updated on where we're going.
As you know, conservative talk radio is a big influence here in the state, especially when you look at the primary. Have you been surprised by the reception that you've received in these first couple days?
As I haven't. Coming at this as an outsider and a businessman, I don't have a track record necessarily speaking on political issues.
One host, Vicky McKenna, called you a never Trump, no MAGA rhino. Jay Rebler said anyone who supports ranked choice voting, as you once stated, is either dangerously dishonest or dangerously dumb. Are they wrong?
I do think they are wrong in underestimating the positive leadership that I can provide the state. And to sort of set the record straight. Since 2016, my wife and I have supported Donald Trump in every election. 2016, 2020, 2024.
You voted for him in all three.
Voted for him and financially supported. Ranked choice voting. Look, I approach it like an outsider and a businessman, and I saw election challenges, election integrity issues, various things that caused me to look for different ideas. Coming off of that effort, coming off of hearings that I've testified, I've come to the conclusion since then that ranked choice voting is not the solution for Wisconsin. I don't support it. And as governor, it would be essentially dead on arrival on my desk.
Berrien is facing some initial Republican criticism over this August 2020 interview with Fox Business.
Do you stick with the president this time around?
We're gonna have to see on some of that. I don't like the COVID leadership. I don't like the anti-science approach, and I would lead it much more differently. But
you haven't decided yet.
Have not decided yet.
In the 2024 presidential primary, Berrien first backed Nikki Haley before switching to Trump. For Republican voters who say maybe it's just he's a Trump supporter when it's convenient, you tell them what?
Again, emphasizing that we have both donated to and voted since. Now, August 2020, it was sort of the depths of COVID, and we were, our head was sort of spinning here, being an essential manufacturer, but trying to navigate that. But in the end, supported him in that race and voted for him.
In his launch, Berrien is quickly going after Democratic Governor Tony Evers, who hasn't decided yet on whether he'll seek a third term. Let's talk about some of the issues. The governor recently signed the most recent state budget.
Yep.
Included in that, kind of a big agreement, right, between Republican leaders and the governor on tax cuts, child care funding, UW funding. From what you've seen and what you know, would you have backed or signed that agreement?
Look, I think that budget compromise indicates all the more why we need to have a strong conservative Republican in the governor's mansion, so that you don't have to have a give and take on so many of those things that don't further the conservative vision for Wisconsin.
The governor has talked a lot about farm workers in the state in terms of the Trump administration and their deportation efforts. I'm curious your thoughts on that. There's been a lot of talk in recent days about should there be amnesty for farm workers? What should we do with farm workers who are here in the country illegally? If there's a farm worker in Wisconsin who's here illegally, should they be deported if they don't have a criminal record?
Look, I applaud President Trump for securing the border. I mean, number one, absolutely paramount when you think about, a state here in the 21st, a nation in the 21st century. So you got to secure the border, number one. Number two, if there are criminal illegal aliens, they need to be, deported from the country. I empathize with the challenge of agriculture sector, hospitality sector, needing additional workers. Number one, it absolutely needs to be a legal workforce. And look, I'd be open to all sorts of, innovative ideas that I would, suggest to the administration around creating temporary worker visas, perhaps where there's an employer-paid payroll tax that goes directly to fund the Social Security Trust Fund. Then you're sort of solving two problems at once.
We still don't know whether the governor will seek re-election. We don't know if any other Republicans are going to jump in the race. Are you selling yourself as the most conservative candidate for governor?
I'm selling myself as the candidate, most likely to win. And that is really the end goal, is we need to get a conservative Republican in the governor's seat, and also one who thinks not just about winning the governor's seat, but thinks about leadership of the party statewide. Because that leader has to be an individual who's willing to look across all 72 counties, down to the precinct level, in a military-like fashion of, care and feeding, fundraising, taking pages of the Democratic playbook of, a fundraising machine, to help candidates up and down the ticket to win, down to the lowest level, up to the highest.
Do you think the state party needs to do better at that?
I see a clear path to be able to help them do better.
All right, coming up, following the money, the new campaign finance report, and what the numbers tell us in the race for governor.